We're gonna get started with a mat Pilates prop workout. I have a small ball, the magic circle, and some small hand weights. I'm using 5 pounds today. However, you can always go lighter or a little heavier, or feel free to omit those props. I'm Jessica, and you can join me for more in-depth mat training at pilatesworkoutsonline.com. Hit that subscribe button. Let's start standing with the small ball. So I'm gonna grab the small ball and I'm gonna take that between my ankles, just a little bit above the ankle, parallel with my feet to start, and we're gonna move our ankles. So I'm gonna lift all 10 toes up off the floor, then I'm gonna lift my heels. Alternating toes, and then heels. And this can be challenging if you are on a mat. That squishy surface can make it more challenging to balance, so you can always step off to the side of the floor if that feels more comfortable for you. And find a range of motion where you can move without leaning yourself forward or backwards. A little similar to doing our calf raises on the reformer. Let's do 2 more, and then after this last one, let's bring those feet back to flat. We're gonna round our spine down to the floor and then articulate that spine back up. So chin to chest, letting those shoulders come forward. If you need to, soften those knees. You can also place your hands on your thighs and just take your time in both directions. And don't feel like you have to go all the way to the floor. If you need to, always stop halfway. So that parallel position with our feet. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, we're gonna round our spine forward again, hold halfway where you can maintain, and let's just let those arms circle. Let your head and neck relax, let that go. And think about just moving from the shoulders. And then let's try to reverse that direction and go the other way. Finding that connection to the breath. Let's do 2 more. And then let the arms just hang, and then we'll slowly peel our spine all the way back to upright. Let's get rid of our ball. Let's set that off to the side. We're gonna grab onto those hand weights. And again, feel free to skip this if it feels better for you. So parallel to start with those legs, and make sure you have some mat space behind you. We're gonna do an alternating lunge. I'm gonna step my right foot back, lowering into a lunge, step back together, and then other foot back and together. And keep in mind, being on that mat surface will feel a little bit more challenging for the balance, especially if you do have a squishier mat. So you can always step off to the floor as we do these lunges. And find your range of motion. It doesn't have to be a deep lunge. If you feel like you're struggling with your balance, you can always just glide that foot back and then slowly lower. Come back together. Gliding the foot back, and then slowly glide back in. And that will help you find a little bit more balance and control as we alternate. Let's get one more time, each side. Once we're even, we're gonna come back to upright. And then we're gonna step 1 foot back and hold. I'm gonna step my right foot back, holding into that lunge, finding my balance. And then from here, I'm gonna reach down to the floor and then stand back up. And so as I reach the floor, I'm gonna bend my front knee and I'm gonna straighten it as I come back up. Bend and straighten. Leaning forward so that you're not hinging at those hips. And find a range of motion that works for you. Maybe focus on that exhale as you come up, inhale back down. And that back foot, you could be on your toe, or you could even flatten that foot as well for a deeper stretch on your back calf muscle. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, I'm gonna hold that hinge forward. I'm gonna lean into my front leg, seeing if I can take my back foot to a hover off the mat. And feel free to keep that on the floor if it feels better for you. We're gonna open the arms to a T and then lower back down. Out to a T and back down. So again, that back foot being on the floor will be better for your balance. A little bit more challenging on that balance by lifting that back leg. And check in that you didn't go too heavy on those hand weights to where you can't maintain your balance. Exhale as you open, inhale back down. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's lower back down into that lunge, and then we'll step the feet together. We're gonna go right into the other side. Let's step that opposite foot back, and we're gonna do that hinge forward. Bending the front leg, and then straighten as you come back up. Bend and straighten. Find your range of motion for this. And keep in mind, with that back foot, you could be on your toe, or you could even flatten that foot, which gives you a little bit more stretch through that back calf. Straighten that front leg and bend. Focusing on that exhale as we stand back up. Inhale as we hinge forward. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, we're gonna hold that hinge forward, lean into that front leg. You can keep this back leg down or lift it up. And we're gonna open the arms to a T and back down. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. And again, better for the balance if you keep that back foot down. Find your breath. And take your time resisting those arms in both directions. And if you look to the floor a little bit in front of you, that's gonna help with your balance. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, we're gonna come back to center, and we'll set that foot back to the floor, shake that out. And let's start upright. We're gonna stand up tall, bringing those legs parallel like a number 11, hands at your side. I'm gonna open my leg out to my side, and bring it back in. Out to my side, and back in. This other arm just hanging at your side. Focusing on that breath and looking out in front of you to help with your balance. Opening this leg away from you. And think about your foot that's on the floor, feeling that whole foot in contact with the mat. And let's do 2 more. On this last one, we're gonna hold that leg lifted, and I'm gonna try to reach my hand forward as my leg reaches back. And then alternate. Arm goes back, leg goes forward. Arm forward, leg back. Leg forward, arm back. Kind of like walking. Reaching those limbs away from each other. And it could be a small range of motion. Take your time. If you need to, tap the floor front, tap the floor back with your toe. That'll make this a little bit easier while still finding some challenge for your balance. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, let's come back to center. We'll set that leg back down, shake the other one out, and let's repeat on the other side. So standing tall, parallel. Once you're ready, second leg, open out to your side, and back in. And my hand is just resting on my thigh, so I do get a little resistance as that leg opens away from me. And you could always touch the floor as you come in and then open, or try to maintain that balance and that hover of your foot. And if needed, this other arm can always go a little further out to your side to help with that balance. Let's do 2 more, and then we're gonna hold those limbs out. And out to where you can maintain, reach the arm forward, reach the leg back, and then switch. Arm back, leg forward, and alternate. Kind of like walking. Arm forward, leg back, leg forward, arm back. And find your breath. Take your time as you alternate. And if you need to, you can always tap the floor front, tap the floor back to help with that balance as you find your coordination here. And let's do 2 more. After this last one, we're gonna come back to center, setting those limbs back down, shake that out, and let's get rid of our hand weights. We'll set those down to the floor. And then let's stand facing towards your mat. So you have your mat space out in front of you, and then we're gonna nod our chin to our chest. We're gonna round our spine down till our hands find the mat, And then we'll walk out to our quadruped position. So into our all fours. Bringing those hands below the shoulders, lengthen that torso with your butt over those knees. And let's start by moving our scapula, our shoulder blades, letting your chest drop and lift. And this can be a sticky area in our bodies. So we're gonna keep the elbow straight. We're not moving at the elbow. We're moving from the spine, from the back of the spine with those shoulder blades. So it's kind of like your spine drops down between the shoulder blades and then it lifts up between them. And if this is a sticky area for you, maybe trying this laying on your back on a foam roller. We're gonna do 2 more, and then hold that width across your back, like you're pressing your spine to the ceiling. And just letting your eye gaze look to the floor a little bit in front of your fingertips. From here, let's glide our opposite arm to leg out, come back in, and then other side out and back in. And we're staying in contact with the mat to start. So I'm just gliding my limbs away from my center. And this is a nice chance to find your stability, making sure that you're not rocking side to side. But let's add on. So as we reach those limbs out, then lift up off the floor, come back down, and glide back in. Glide out, and then lift, lower, and glide back in. Still looking to that floor space a little in front of you. Thinking about that length in our spine. And rather than focusing on how high you're getting those limbs up, think more about your leg and your hand reaching away from your center. Almost like your wrist and your ankle are being pulled away from you. Let's do this one more time each side. And then once we're even, we'll come back to center. Let's take our hands off the mat, coming up onto our knees. And let's go into our thigh stretch. I'm gonna release my feet. You can always keep them tucked if that feels better for you. And I'm gonna lean myself back and then coming back up. Like I'm a solid plank of wood from my knee through my head, leaning myself back. And if you need to, you can always even fold up your mat a couple times and place your knees on top of that folded mat to give yourself a little bit more cushion, just in case that doesn't feel great for you. Or limit the range of motion. Maybe moving a little bit more through your upper spine if you have discomfort for those knees. Maybe reaching those arms up higher for an added challenge. If you can get the arms to come to the sides of the ears like a picture frame. And letting your eye gaze follow that movement. So slowly looking up towards the ceiling and then back down towards the wall in front of you. And maybe after we do a few, you can find more range of motion. We're gonna do 3 more. And then after this next one, we're gonna come back to center. We're gonna grab that ball. And I'm gonna take the ball behind the back of one of my knees. I'm gonna start with my left knee, coming into my quadruped position again. And we're gonna do a hip circle with this ball leg. So like my knee is the tip of a pencil, I'm gonna draw a circle. Looking to the floor space in front of me. And it doesn't have to be a big range of motion. Watching that you're not tilting yourself over as you circle. And staying present with your breath, finding that deep inhale and full exhale. Let's do 2 more in this direction, and then let's reverse. Go the other way. And take notice of how this hip feels. You're gonna feel that bottom leg working as well. Let's do 3 more. And then after that last one, we'll come back to center. We're gonna take that ball into our hands and then come up off our hands. We're gonna go back into another version of thigh stretch. So holding that ball in our hands, reaching our hands out in front of us, you could just lean straight back and come back up Otherwise, we're gonna do a bow and arrow. I'm gonna pull this left elbow back, looking at my elbow, come back to center, and then other side. So like a low row, bringing that elbow into your side, and letting your eye gaze follow that movement. So looking back to my right, center, left, and center. And find your range of motion. Try to get that lean back first before you fully rotate. And that rotation is more through our thoracic spine, the upper back. And let's do that one more time, each side. Once we're even, let's come back to center, and let's take that ball to our other leg. So I'm gonna take this behind my right knee now, coming back in that quadruped, and let's go into that leg circle. So moving from our hip, but thinking about leading from your knee. So it's like your knee is the tip of a pencil. Watch that your hands aren't too close to your body, that they're underneath the shoulder. Looking to the floor a little bit in front of your fingertips. Let's do 2 more. And then after that last one, let's reverse. Let's go the other way. Pressing that mat away from you. So think about that spine lifting up between those shoulder blades. And then we're gonna do 2 more. After that last one, come back in. Let's take that ball into our hands, and we're gonna take a seat onto the mat. Legs out in front of you. And let's take that ball behind us. So I'm gonna straighten my arms behind me, and I'm gonna lay my shoulder blades onto that ball. So kind of right at that armpit area, almost. And then hands behind the head. Both feet pressing down, parallel like a number 11. So look at your hips, your knees, your feet should line right up so you're not too wide. And then hands behind the head, let's extend back over that ball, and then we're gonna flex and crunch forward. And find your range of motion here as you extend back. You don't have to go to the floor. You can always stop about halfway and then come back up. Halfway and back up. So see where your spine wants to go. Otherwise, we do get a little bit of back extension through that upper spine as we extend ourselves over the ball. And you could inhale as you go back, exhale, come forward. Letting your eye gaze also follow this movement. So I'm looking at my thighs, and then I look towards the ceiling and towards the wall behind me. Let's do 2 more. After this last, we're gonna maintain that chest lift, and we're gonna take our hands to our sides. We're gonna pump those arms at our side for the 100. Deep inhale, and deep exhale. Inhale for 5, exhale for 5. And watch that you're not bouncing up and down off that ball. We're trying to just move from the shoulder. You can stay here with the feet on the floor, or take one leg up, bring it back down, other leg up. So alternating into a march, and think about your fingertips reaching across the room, maintaining that chest lift. You can stay here in the march. Otherwise, let's bring both legs up to tabletop. Maybe reach those legs out straight and just pump in those arms. Let's do 1 more set at inhale, 1 more set exhale, and then we'll lower everything back down. Taking the feet to the floor, hands behind the head, extend yourself back over that ball. We're gonna come back into that chest lift, doing our crisscross variation. We're gonna take 1 leg up to tabletop. I'm gonna twist and rotate towards my tabletop leg. So opposite armpit, opposite hip. And then as I come to center, I'm gonna reach this leg to straight, and then repeat on the same leg. So rotating towards that leg, and then just back to center. Twisting. You could also take this hand and reach across your leg, and back in for a little deeper rotation. Maybe exhale as you twist, inhale through center, and we're staying in that chest lift as we're doing this. Let's do 3 more on this side. this last one, let's come back to center, take that foot to the floor, other leg lifts, and let's do the same thing. Rotate towards that leg, and then as you come to center, reach the leg to straight. Bend it in, rotate, center, and straighten that leg into our crisscross variation. And you can stay here, otherwise reaching that opposite arm across your thigh and then center. Reach across the thigh and center. And letting your eye gaze look towards that back elbow that's rotating towards the floor. Think about this opposite foot pressing down. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, we'll come back to center, take that foot to the floor, extend back over that ball, and then we'll flex and crunch forward. Grab the back of your thighs, rock yourself all the way up to seated. Let's straighten those legs in front of us for spine stretch forward. So feet a little bit wider than the hips, pull those toes back toward your knees, reach those arms out in front of you, and let's peel away from the wall, and then back against the wall. Peel away, and back to upright. Think about moving that head first on the way forward, and then move from that lower back on the way back up. If you need to, soften the knees, or you can even fold up your mat and sit up on your mat for this one. Having a little bit more lift of your hips by folding that mat. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, we'll come back to seated. Let's open the arms to a T for saw. Twist and rotate. Reach forward towards your pinky toe. Pulse for 2. Come back up. Twist and rotate other side. Pulse, pulse. Back up. Twist and rotate. And with that back hand, work to rotate that pinky finger to the ceiling so the thumb faces down. So we get a little rotation at that shoulder. And looking towards that back hand with your eye gaze. Find that lengthen and it'll grow tall, and then twist and rotate, wringing your torso out. Let's do that one more time, each side. Once we're even, let's come back to center. We're gonna grab that ball, and let's also make sure our magic circle is close by, and we're gonna lay flat onto our back. So peel yourself down, and let's take that ball to our inner thighs. And then parallel with those feet like a number 11, let's flat back lift our hips up, and then back down. Flat back lift, and lower. Hinging like a door frame. And as you come up, just a light squeeze of that ball. Think about feeling your whole foot on the mat, your heel, the ball, the big toe, ball, the pinky toe. And also press your hands down into the mat, helping to open up that chest as we lift our hips. We're hinging flat back up and down. And let's do 2 more. On that last one, let's stay lifted with our hips, and let's tilt our pelvis side to side, left to right. Like your pelvis is a bowl filled with water, you're just dipping those hips left to right. Watching that you're not letting those knees move around a bunch. You're trying to keep those legs fairly still. Let's do that one more time each side. Once we're even, let's come back to center, lower our hips back down, and let's lift both legs up to tabletop. Still keeping that ball there. Press your legs into the ball, open your arms wide to your sides, and let's drop those legs left to right, side to side. Feel that squeeze of the ball as you bring your legs to center. So we're keeping that upper body pressing down and moving through that lower body. Take your time. You can always limit that range of motion and make it smaller if that feels better on your body, or even take your feet to the floor as you do this. Let's do that one more time each side. Once we're even, we'll come back through center, and then we're gonna take the ball into our hands, let your feet find the floor. Let's lift our hips up and take the ball underneath our butt. Once that ball is underneath your butt, make sure you feel stable, press those hands to your sides. We're gonna lift those legs up to tabletop and then straighten those legs to the ceiling. You could stay here, otherwise we're gonna scissor the legs. I'm I'm gonna pull one leg towards my body as the other one reaches away, and then switch, pointing and flexing. Feeling like I'm standing on the ceiling, pointing across the room. And feel those legs pulling away from your center. Pressing down into your arms, feeling the weight into your shoulder blades as you move. Let's do that one more time, each way. And then once we're even, we'll come back to center. Let's lower both legs down, lift both legs up. Point the toes to lower, flex the feet to lift. And find your range of motion. Watch that you're not going all the way to the floor, arching through that back. We want to stop a little bit above the hips and then back to the ceiling. Lower a little bit above the hips and back to the ceiling. And make it a smaller range of motion if that feels better. Let's do 2 more. And then on that last one, let's hold those legs up to the ceiling. And we're gonna open our legs wide to our sides and then come back up to the ceiling. Open and close. Maybe flex the feet to open, point the toes to come back together. Little work and stretch through those inner thighs. Let's do 3 more. And then after this last one, we'll come back to center. Let's bend our knees, take our feet back to the floor, lift your hips up, and we're gonna take that ball behind the back of one knee. Keeping that leg bent, other leg with your foot on the floor, and let's go back into our flat back bridge, lifting our hips up and back down into our single leg flat back. If this isn't good for you, go back to what we did before. Ball between the inner thighs with both feet on the floor. Exhale, lift, inhale back down. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's lower our hips back down and let's move that ball to the other side. Bending that knee. Once you're ready, flat back lift and lower. We're going to keep those hips level as you lift. Exhale up, inhale back down. Let's do 3 more. And then after that last one, let's lower our hips back down. I'm gonna set that ball off to the side. And then I'm gonna straighten my legs, reaching my arms overhead. And then I'm gonna reach my hands to the ceiling, chin to the chest, roll all the way up to seated, reach forward towards those toes, and then slowly articulate that spine back down to the mat, reaching those arms overhead to the floor behind you. Hands to the ceiling, chin to the chest, crease the chest line. Start to reach those hands across the room as you come back up. And then take your time, try to go as slow as you can on the way back down. If coming up is challenging for you, you could bend the knees, grab the back of your thighs, rock yourself up, straighten the legs, and then try to roll down as slow as you can. Bend the knees, grab the back of your thighs, press your legs into your hands to help you come up, and then repeat. That can be a good way to practice and get your body ready for this full roll up. Lots of other ways to do that as well. Pressing those hips down into the mat. Think about pressing those legs down. Reaching forward over those legs. Let's do 2 more. And then after this last one, let's stay all the way down onto the floor. We're gonna bend those knees and grab onto our magic circle. So I'm gonna reach one leg up to the ceiling, taking that circle onto my toe and holding for a hamstring stretch. Maybe point and flex like you're doing a calf raise. And then I'm gonna straighten my opposite leg, the one that's on the floor. And this leg that's to the ceiling, I'm gonna cross it over my body and back to the ceiling. I'm gonna take my opposite arm to the floor. Well, Same arm as the leg to the floor. And that will help me as this leg drops across my body to give me some support. And you can let your butt cheek lift off the mat, finding some rotation to that lower body. We'll do 2 more. And then after that last one, I'm gonna reach that leg back to the ceiling. I'm gonna take the circle into my hands. I'm gonna hold the circle with my hands. You could just take your hands back to the mat instead, and we're gonna circle this top leg. Small circle or a big circle. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And you could make this a little bit easier by also bending this opposite leg while you're doing your circle. Or take those hands back to the mat. Imagine your toe is the tip of a pencil. Inhale and deep exhale. Let's do 2 more. And then after that last one, let's try to reverse and go the other way. I'm thinking about pressing into that circle lightly as I circle this leg and still feeling my shoulder blades in contact with the mat as I also press my floor leg down. So everything is working. Let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's take that leg back down to the mat and let's repeat on our other side. So take that opposite leg up, starting with that hamstring stretch. And let's also move our ankle, point and flex, like we're doing a calf raise. Let's do a couple more. And then we'll stay relaxed and we're gonna drop this leg across our body and then back to the ceiling. That opposite leg should be straight for this part. And again, it's okay to let that hip lift as you drop that leg over you. And my other hand's pressing down at the mat, which helps me keep my upper body reaching down. And let's do 2 more. After this last one, we'll come back to center. And I'm gonna keep this leg up to the ceiling, but I'm gonna take that circle into my hands. Remember, you can always just set the circle to the floor and keep your hands on the mat. Otherwise, we're gonna circle this leg. Small circle or a big circle. That opposite leg to be bent or having that leg straight like I am now. And think about pressing into that circle. Feeling your shoulder blades reaching down to the mat. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, we're gonna reverse and go the opposite way. Imagining that your toe is the tip of a pencil. Maybe inhale and deep exhale. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, we'll come back to center. We're gonna bend both knees, taking our feet onto that circle. And I wanna think about my feet pressing to the circle and my hands pulling the circle. So feet press, hands pull. I'm gonna lift up into my chest lift, and I'm gonna think about that press and my pull to help me come up into my bent leg teaser, and then slowly roll back down. So press and pull with the hands and the feet to come up, and then find control, tuck in that pelvis, rolling yourself back. Almost like you're rolling like a ball in a teaser variation. But the press of your feet and the pull of your hands should assist you with coming up. And if you want to advance that, maybe try to straighten those legs, lift your chest as you come up, and still relax the shoulders and elbows down a little bit so you're not overly lifting. And then take your time as you come back down. You can also choose to try to keep the leg straight as you go down, and then keep the leg straight as you come up. So straight as you go down, straight as you come up, or bend on the way down, straighten on the way up. We're gonna do 3 more. Taking your time in both directions. Find that chest lift first and then press and pull to come up. On this last one, we'll stay lifted. Find that teaser, find your hold, bent legs or straight legs. See if you can maintain the position, but take the circle off your toes. Lift and lower those arms. 3 more. And then after this last one, slowly fold yourself forward, reach forward towards those toes, and we'll set that circle to our sides. Let's roll all the way back down to the mat, and then we're gonna flip ourselves over like a hot cake coming onto our bellies. And then from here, let's reach both arms straight overhead. Let's lift our opposite arm, opposite leg. Think about your other set of limbs pressing into the mat as the other side lifts. And think about your wrist and your ankle being pulled away from your center. Let's do that one more time each side. Once we're even, let's bend both elbows, pressing our palms to the mat. So keeping the palms down, lift your chest up, lower your chest back down. Lifting that thoracic spine or upper back. And think about watching a marble roll out in front of you. Watch it roll back below you, working to maintain that length in our neck. And you could choose to stay here. Otherwise, try to lift and hold your torso and then lift your arms off the mat. Lower the arms down, lower your torso. Lift the torso, lift the arms, and then lower everything back down. And as you lift the arms up, almost feel like your elbows are being pulled to the ceiling, but also reaching back towards your ankles. So elbows lift and pull back. Let's do 3 more. And then after this last one, let's lower back down and then press up onto our hands and our knees. And let's do a couple cat-cows. Hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Finding that movement of the spine. And then we'll come back to center. And I'm gonna lay onto my left side, coming into our side lying position. You can always put that ball underneath your head for a little ball pillow. And we're gonna start with both of our knees bent. Think about that length in your torso. So top hip reaching away from your rib cage, ankles pressed together. Let's go into our clamshell, lifting that top knee up and back down. You could stay here with your feet on the mat or lift those feet off the mat and then do the same thing. Top knee coming up and back down. Feel free to even lay flat onto that bottom arm. And watch that as you lift this top leg, you're not rolling your hips backwards. So work to stop in a place where you can still keep the pelvis stacked and work to move this leg bone within our hip socket. Pressing that top arm in front of you to give you some stability and resisting that leg both directions. You could focus on the exhale up, inhale back down. We're gonna do 2 more. And then after this last one, let's lower those legs back down. I'm gonna straighten my top leg. Bottom leg could stay here bent, or you could straighten that as well. Top leg hip height, let's sweep it forward, sweep it back. Pressing down into your bottom leg or your toe and your top hand to help support you. Flex the foot as you go forward, point the toe as you reach back. And do try to get that leg behind you so we get a little opening through our hip flexor and quad. Leg is hip height. Staying connected into that breath as we move this leg. And let's do 2 more. On that last one, let's hold that leg straight down from our pelvis and let's lift it up to the ceiling and pull back down. Float that leg up and back down. Think about that leg being pulled away from you as you lower. Maybe point and flex. Flex as you go up, point as you lower. And feel free to make that a smaller lift as well. And then 2 more. After that last one, let's lower this leg back down. We're gonna bend that top leg in front of us, straighten that bottom leg, and let's lift that bottom leg off the floor and back down. I have my foot flexed, toe to the knee, and then think about your heel being pulled away from you as you lift. Exhale up, inhale back down. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's lower that leg back down. Let's bend both knees in, press yourself up to seated. Reach your hand towards your feet, and then your other hand's gonna come off the floor. We're gonna side bend towards our feet, and then coming back to upright. Lean over towards your feet, towards that back foot, and then back up. I have my legs stacked together. You could always come into your Z-sit, your 90-90, if that felt better for your body as well. Inhale, deep exhale. And let's do 3 more. After this last one, we'll come back to center. We're gonna sweep our legs to the other side and we'll do our second leg. So flip yourself around, grab your ball pillow if you did use that. Otherwise, you can lay flat on your arm or let your hand support your head. We're gonna start with both of those knees bent. Knees a little bit below the height of your hips, ankles together, and let's lift and lower that top knee. You can keep the feet on the floor or lift those feet up and then continue to do the same thing into that clamshell. And remember, keep in mind that as this leg lifts, we don't want to tilt ourselves backwards. So find where you can move within your hip socket. And maybe one hip feels a little bit different than the other one. Take your time. Exhale up, inhale back down, resisting that leg. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, we'll release those legs back down to the mat. I'm gonna straighten my top leg. You can keep that bottom leg bent in or straighten that as well. Top leg hip height. Let's sweep it forward, sweep it back. Flex the foot forward, point the toe back. Trying to swing this leg within the hip socket. And do try to get that leg behind you so we get that opening at our hip flexor and quad. And think about that leg just reaching away from your body as you go forward and back. And then 2 more. On that last one, let's hold that leg straight down from our body and then lift the leg up to the ceiling and back down. Lift up to the ceiling and back down. Point and flex, flex as you go up, point as you lower. Feel that leg pulling away from your center. And again, make that a smaller lift if that's more appropriate for your body. Resisting in both directions. Maybe exhale up, inhale back down. And let's do 2 more. After this last one, we'll bring that leg back down, bend the top leg in front of us, straighten that bottom leg if it's not already. Let's lift and lower that bottom inner thigh. I have my toes pulling towards my knee, and I'm thinking about reaching my heel away from me as that leg lifts. Exhale up, inhale back down. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's lower that leg, bend both knees in, and then press ourselves up to seated. So reaching your hand towards those feet, other arm to a T for that mermaid, for that side bend. And you can stay here with your legs stacked or separate them more into that 90-90, that Z-sit position. Focusing on that inhale as we reach overhead, exhale back up. And let's do 2 more. After that last one, let's rotate our torso towards the floor, taking our hands and our knees onto the mat. Let's press our toes into the mat, and we're gonna lift up into our pike, our down dog or elephant in Pilates. Parallel feet reaching those heels down, and let's come forward into our plank position, onto those toes. And then pike back up, coming back into the elephant, and then forward into our plank. Kind of like our long stretch position on the reformer. Think about that length in your body as you find your plank, and then take your time as you pike those hips back up. Let's do 2 more. And then on that last one, let's hold our pike, and let's walk our feet and our hands in towards each other. I'm gonna grab onto my circle, and then slowly come all the way up to standing. And I'm gonna take that circle in my hands, I'm gonna reach it behind me, so I'm holding the pads of the circle with my hands. I'm gonna lift my arms up and back down. We're gonna stay upright with your body if you can. And I have my fingers kind of in the grooves of the circle, so I'm thinking about pulling that circle apart as I lift my arms. Pulling out. Pulling that circle away. Let's do 2 more. And then hold the arms lifted. Let's bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Getting a little openness at that chest. Let's do 2 more. And then we'll release those arms back down. Let's release that circle. Let's round our spine down to the floor, chin the chest. Let your hands and your head hang heavy. Shake it out. Slowly coming back to upright. And let's reach our hands forward, circle up and around. Lifting your chest as those arms go up. Letting your eye gaze look up. And then come back to center. Let's do that 1 more time. Inhale. And bring those hands back down. And thank you so much for joining me for this Mat Pilates contemporary workout using a variety of props. Join me for a more in-depth review of the Pilates mat work and Pilates workouts using a variety of props at pilatesworkoutsonline.com. Hit that subscribe button and that like button. I'll see you back here soon.